Wait till I tell you my story about Houston.
I know the night.
Oh
But
my God.
it got wild in that club that
You was
night.
there?
Like the Gladiator movie.
It's so crazy because, yo, when we came to Texas was the first time the Klan ever got into a serious altercation.
You were in the trenches, my boy.
Took the mic and smacked the kid in the head with the mic. Why'd he do that? But then next thing you know, you just started seeing like 90 coming from the back, taking their shirts off, breaking off the legs of the chairs, and you know, just really trying to be like, all right, they come up in here, it's on. You know what I mean?
I try to tell these cats, man, like if you really want to do this, like you better be serious about it. Because this is not gonna always be music. Exactly. And you're not gonna always walk into a room that's ready to receive you. Yo, Ray, I got questions.
Hey, yo, Bun, I got questions.
Ray, man, it's good to finally have like a real sit-down, chop-up session
This
with you.
It's been supposed to happen, bro.
We always see each other in passing, you know what I'm saying? We never really have time to build with each other. Do you remember the first time we met?
You know what, to be honest with you, nah.
I ain't gonna even get mad at that because it was random as hell. I did a song with a cat named Just Soprano. He was like, yo, you wanna go by this party? I was like, yeah, where's that? He was like, I ain't gonna lie, it's in the hood. It's like a house party. I said, okay. It might have been like 3 in the morning, and I'm walking through this house, and I look, I'm like, that's Raekwon right there at this party. Right. And you looked at me, you was like, are we looking like, are we who we think we are? But it was just very random, and it was just like, yo, it was just like dapped it up, and we kept it moving because this wasn't no friendly type party. This was very, very hood. That just told me that everything I thought about you was right. The type of dude you was, you moved like you moved. You was by yourself. Might have had one more brother with you, but like you wasn't mobbed up like that. You wasn't deep like that. You was just in the spot, low key, just like everybody else. That's kind of how I was. Everybody know how I get down. So even if we ain't got people with us, we got people with us.
Right.
So you know.
See, you know it's so crazy because a lot of cats don't move like that because they really don't have that past. I mean, I see you all over the world, and you know, we able to just shoot wherever we want to go, and brothers be so excited because of the love, but also the respect. But damn, I don't remember, but I just felt like I know you anyway because, you know, of course, a big fan of your work, and a lot of times your name would pop up like, yo, you remind me of Bun. I already knew your energy before we really clicked.
Absolutely.
So.
Me, you know, first hearing Wu and first seeing y'all were very, very New York, like extremely New York, to where the average person who didn't know about New York lifestyle, terminology and things, they'd have to do that less. But even inside of all of that, you and Ghost, y'all was different type of dudes. Y'all was real street fly dudes, something you could see from a mile away. You know what I'm saying? Me and Pimp would always say that, like, yo, I'm telling you, them dudes like us. Even though they with that crew, you see, they on they fly that everybody ain't on like that. No, that's that real hood. I remember like, yo, how many is in this group? Cause you got, you know, the A side is 9 artists and then the B side is 1 dude.
It was always a group thing, you know. When we first started, it was always coming in together like a football team. We knew that each one of us had the potential to do their own dolo thing, but the other side of the record was Method Man. And we all agreed as a unit that when we had to start looking at what records was dope, we was like, that is nobody can front on that, you know? And it was just an executive decision to make that other record that, you know, because we really felt like Meth was, it's like, you know how you can look at your brothers and see the passion, and you know, it's just almost like talking to each other and saying, yo, this dude right here,
he really want this.
He gonna be the anchor to this, you know. But yeah, it was always a group mentality thinking, the clan, You know, because even when we was running around trying to get a deal, you know, was fronting on us. They was like, too many, you know, how y'all gonna eat off of one, you know, situation.
I always
and we
wondered
just was
that.
like, yo, we don't care. Gotta be this, or we'll see you later on. You know, and I remember us going to a lot of different companies, and they was like, they couldn't believe it because at that time, nobody wasn't coming in the door with 10, 9, going in these different labels. So when we met with Steve was down for the get down. So we knew that we had to set it off as a crew.
You know how the industry worked. When y'all came through and y'all showed all 9 of these artists and everybody got talent, that they was like, well, we don't want the group, but I like him, I like them. Did they ever try to snake y'all like that?
I mean, you know, I wouldn't call it a snake move. I would just call it being in a competitive situation and saying, yo, we want him. You know, and me, I promise you, I didn't know I would be chosen as one of them, but I was so happy about the team because I always been a team player. So if he got chosen, I got chosen in my mind. You know, we all felt like that, but yeah, they definitely was trying to do that. You know, but see, that was all a part of constructing our contract. You know, our contract was like, yo, we coming out as a clique, but then at the end of the day, we all got our own individual, you know, superpower.
See, I never wanted to be a solo artist.
Yeah, me neither.
I never wanted to be a solo. I felt like I was in the greatest group ever. I felt like because Pimp made, you know, most of the music the same way that RZA made the music, so we didn't really technically need nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Pimp was making beats?
Yeah, Pimp made the majority of the UGK music.
Crazy.
Yeah, and produced for other artists as well. Yeah, like.
So him and RZA, they pretty much.
No, I'm telling
like
you, there's a lot of,
and
and Pimp was the visionary. You know, my
Crazy.
whole thing was, I knew I could rap. I never really thought I could make a record and get a deal.
Right.
But when I started rapping, and I'm older than Pimp, I started rapping, Pimp was already 2 years into it.
Got you.
They was already making music, he was buying equipment, he had a vision, and he didn't have a plan B. His whole thing was, I'm gonna make music.
Exactly.
So I said, I don't know about me, if I got it to make it, but this dude gonna make it.
Exactly.
So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna hold him down.
My head up because that's the same vision that we had with RZA. The same shit, like we was following his dream, his cause, his purpose, and being his biggest fan. You
Exactly.
know, it's like, yo, I love my man until one day he told me, yo, you got it too though. You got something about you. And it's like, oh, you shocked me because I know I love hip hop.
Right.
So how you and Pimp met?
It's funny because we had mutual friend, Mitchell Queen.
Okay.
And Mitch and Pimp were in a group.
Queen, that's a main name.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
him and Pimp were actually the first Underground Kings. They were a group.
Oh,
I was in another group with my man Jelon Jackson. Some strong black names, right? And we had a group called the PA Militia. And then we all got together and formed 4 Black Ministers, but like Minister Society.
Right.
So we was doing gangster music over like dance hall. That was our thing, making gangster music over reggae.
Right.
Because reggae was a big thing at the time, like 90, 91, Shabba Ranks,
all that.
That was
Super
that
Cat.
time. So we wanted, and and a lot of it was gangster music. Mitch ended up having a football scholarship. And so they ended up going off and doing their own things, and we started with a bunch of dudes like y'all, but it just never worked out. Like we couldn't all agree on, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always marveled at y'all, because that's a lot of personalities. I said, I'm gonna go to college and see if I'm gonna do this. I said, nah, I ain't gonna try to do both. I said, I'm gonna do the record first. I'm gonna give it a year. If that work, we gonna do that. And if not, I'll try to go back to school. And within a year, we was in New York at Jive Records.
Crazy.
And signing the deal. Got real for me the day I signed. Like, we went to New York. I'm like, yo, we in New York. They done flew us up. We in the Renaissance Hotel in Columbus Circle. I'd never forget it.
Wow.
So it's looking like, I'm checking in a hotel. It's looking like New York. I done seen this in a movie. And so we go up to the office, and you know the game. They pull out a big contract. And they skip the first 23, they go to 24. This is where y'all wanted these videos. This sign right here, we're gonna give y'all. And then they skip over to 45. This is where y'all wanted, like, I don't know if people notice, they come in, nigga, they got the envelopes on the table.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you already know, as soon as I finish signing it, They gonna slide it over.
I'm getting that check.
So we got that check, and me and Pimp went out in the hall, and we was pumped like, just deal with New York, man. We signed the Giant Records, like we finna do it, and we look, and here come KRS-One. Boogie Down Productions, also on job, coming down the hallway. We like, yo, KRS, and I'm a big KRS-One.
Me too.
Big KRS-One fan. I think he's one of the most underappreciated people in hip hop.
He running around terrorizing, did he?
He's still a beast. He's still a beast.
Going mad with it.
And so we see him and we like, yo, it's KRS-One. Like, yo, what's up? We from Texas, we UGK. We came up here to sign. He was like, word, that's what's up. He said, yo, you ain't signed yet, did you? And he was like, yeah, we just signed. We just came out the room. He was like, good luck, my man, good luck. And kept going. And so we went from here to like here. From like this is a dream come true to like, we might have made the biggest mistake of our life. So we never got comfortable after that.
It's like a bittersweet vibe he gave y'all.
25 years of trying to renegotiate terms and trying to get out of what we signed as teenagers. But we wanted to be a part of the culture. Like we wanted to make music.
I feel like that's, you know, kind of like that when Q-Tip said record company people is shady. You know what I mean? That's all I keep remembering at the time when we were coming up.
I was on that label. I'm on job with them. When they say that, I'm like.
Every time I hear him say, every time I hear that song, I think about those situations. And I think that I call that dancing with the devil at that time, you know, but everybody, you know, that's a part of your legacy, is going in and being a young cat that is a little confused, but your heart is somewhere else as far as how you feel about the culture. You see what I'm saying? And it's almost like we would tell a youngster, you better love it before you act like you want to live it. I just think that that's part of the growing pains of getting a record deal, you know? And automatically too, you gotta know, and I'm not saying you gotta know, but we all know that sacrifices is everything.
Absolutely.
You know, so that sacrifice, for somebody to even pay attention to you and want to even do something with you, it's a sacrifice that come with that. So I just look at it like, yo, you know, we had to take a sacrifice. Like imagine, you know, 10 split in the 60G contract.
That's a
Our
lot.
contract was 60 racks.
For everybody.
For everybody. So what I got out of that? You got to pay the lawyer, you know what I mean, management, you know, what I think I probably got about $800 out of that. And then I probably blew 5 of it on a goose or something, and some boots or something. So, but like you said, the key thing was we got on.
You gotta love this in order to live this, like you was just saying, because a big part of it is gonna be thankless. Our first show was in a VFW hall, like a veterans hall, after the bingo. Like they played bingo, and then they cleared them out, and then they let us come
27.
in and do a show. And we probably had 30 people. We got paid $150 to split between 3 dudes, and we had to give Pimp's mom the gas money back for the van, because we borrowed her van. And we got in the van after the show, and we was like, we just got paid to rap. Like we just got, it wasn't even about the money.
See?
It was about the accomplishment. Like somebody paid us to come and rap for them.
There you go.
Like this, it's real. This is real now. It wasn't like you say, it wasn't even about the money. It's like, we're real. We rappers, we own right now.
Being legit, you know, being legal.
Yes.
You know, I think that was one of the things that, you know, was so important to me, you know, even being a part of a group. It's just that, damn, I ain't gotta carry a gun every day and, you know, cracks in my back pocket and going uptown and doing all this. It's like, yo, now I could really breathe and make my mother smile in a great way, you know? But, you know, like you said, it was that sacrifice. We love hip hop so much that, yo, it's like signing up to the league.
Right.
You know, so I really didn't care about the money at that point, you know, and I know a lot of us didn't, because, you know, when we signed, it was almost like, yo, it's a movement. You know, we trying to start a movement on Staten Island, because nobody wasn't getting put on from Staten Island. We was the last borough, like real. So in the back of our minds as a group, it was more about, yo, gotta make feel Staten Island, man.
I remember y'all came to Houston one time in the early.
Wait till I tell you my story about
Houston.
Houston.
I know the night.
Oh,
But it
my
got
God.
wild in that club that night.
You was there?
Nah, my OG, Rick Royal, rest in peace, he was there that night. The crazy thing about it was, he was like, they came, they tried to be respectful. Dudes was bugging. They kept trying to push through. It became too much. Men had to be men. Then they realized they was outnumbered. He said, but the way they got out, like the Gladiator movie, like nobody got left behind.
And look, it's so crazy because, yo, we have been in so many different places all over the world. Because, you know, back then, they didn't have money. So everything was kind of ratchet and hood back then. But we never really got tried. But when we came to Texas was the first time the Klan ever got into a serious altercation. You know, of course, little things here and there, but, you know, we used to that in New York, you know what I mean? We in Texas, we had to go do sound check. So now we you know, we pull up, you know, jump out, all of us, we go in the club. Club is twisted. It wasn't cleaned up, nothing, it was grimy.
You were in the trenches, my boy. You were in the gutter, the gutter.
It was wild because all I remember is seeing a picture of Scarface mural on the wall in there. So I said, this is Scarface house right here. So we already thinking that, yo, it might get a little spooky in here, you know? And like you said, we came through, boom, we ain't been in the motherfucking 10 minutes. Got on stage, RZA talking, the energy was weird automatically. You know, and it's like, got to the point to where it was like RZA wanted to ask somebody in the crowd because I guess he seen a certain kind of person's body language that he felt like was a little trying to say something. So, you know, Riz gonna come over to him and he passed the mic and put the mic in his face and said, "I don't want y'all New York, eh? Get the fuck up out of here." Word. So, you know, RZA just, you know, took the mic back like, okay, you know what I mean? The next thing you know, he started talking more. RZA just walked up to him and he just took the mic and smacked the kid in the head with the mic. Why'd he do that? It's coming out from the back. So now he trying to get on the stage and do whatever he want to do. We all still standing there like, okay, come on up here. You know what I mean? But then next thing you know, you just started seeing like 90 coming from the back, taking their shirts off,
That's
everything.
all one neighborhood. Every in that club, and you gotta remember, that was a huge club. Yeah. Like, it wasn't no little.
What city
club.
Was that?
That was Houston. That's
I mean,
Houston.
what area?
No, that's Fifth Ward.
Fifth Ward.
That's Fifth Ward. That's the house of rap a lot. That's why it's Scarface picture on there. That was Jay Prince's house.
Yo, it was the wildest though, but at the end of the day, you know, security tried to, you know, kind of like, you know, push people back or whatever. All you could just hear is just trying to come in and boom, boom, boom. You know, it got to the point where it was like, yo, all of us, yo, here go a Heineken bottle, yo, breaking off the legs of the chairs and, you know, just really trying to be like, all right, they come up in here, it's on. You know what I mean? We gonna do what we need to do.
I try to tell these cats, man, like, if you really want to do this, like, you better be serious about it. Because this is not gonna always be music. Exactly. And you're not gonna always walk into a room that's ready to receive you.
That's right.
You can walk into a room that's really ready for some other shit.
And believe it or not, this spot was probably the only place we ever had an altercation at till today.
But the way it came back was like, they hoe out, like they was ready. So like for us coming from Texas and like coming to New York was a big deal for us because it was the home of hip hop, right? So coming to New York wasn't just about getting a record deal. It was about getting that New York validation at the time. Right. Now, you guys obviously started hip hop, created it, was running it. When we came in and started actually really wanting to be a part of it, LA was doing their thing. But for us, it was seeing Jay Prince create Rap A Lot Records and then watching the Ghetto Boys go around the country, and then when them hit the Source, because we was making music. Right. But when them hit the cover of the Source magazine, for us, that was like, okay, we got a shot. All we got to do is when we go to these places, represent like real solid dudes, and we should be all right. But it was always about wanting to eventually get to New York at some point and get validation. As we got older, it was like, you know what? If they don't want to rock with it, they ain't got to rock with it, but we gonna be here regardless. You know what I'm saying?
You had a presence. Scarface.
Right.
Scarface came out before all of us. Scarface was out. So whether y'all felt y'all wasn't being heard and seen, y'all was already baptized already. You know what I mean? Ghetto Boys. You think up here ain't know that?
Oh, absolutely.
At night I can't sleep, I toss and turn and you know what I mean? You know, just, he was a dawn to us. He was, you know, he was the epitome of fly gangster. And back then, like you said, that was the lifestyle. You know what I mean? So for like myself that was in the hood already and turning things around and doing whatever we was doing, what you think we listening to?
I remember when they did Yo MTV Raps.
All that,
I'm like, okay, so you can be in those rooms. We didn't know if we was welcome, but we watched them go all the way to the top of hip hop and be in New York, the most hip hop place in the world, and be accepted.
I'm a big fan of your work. My favorite albums from y'all was definitely your first album. It was something about, I felt like it was the hardest Southern shit I ever heard in my life. Production, you know, everything was like real big, and y'all was lyrically in tune. When you was making your chemistry, was it about you thinking about, yo, I gotta be lyrically inclined? Because you and Pimp, y'all was so lyrical at the same time, like, but still I could feel the culture that y'all was representing in y'all music.
Pimp
like, was lyrics always that?
No, it wasn't. When we first started, it was really about making sure we looked and sounded like where we was from. You know what I'm saying? You always make your first project, I believe, for like your neighborhood, just to prove to them. So for us, when we first started, it wasn't even about being lyrical. It was just about being representative. So that's why the word Trill came into the vocabulary, because that was something that we said at the crib. That wasn't no Texas.
That's right.
There wasn't no Houston. That was some PH.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was something that would separate us from everybody else around us.
That's how we felt about getting this cream.
We using words that not using, so we know what we talking about.
It's coded for us.
We just kept being ourselves. And stayed true to who we were. Pimp was very adamant about, because we started making music right in that Chronic area. And everybody always started putting them synths and started trying to make that kind of music. And Pimp was like, nah, we gotta keep our sound. We gotta keep our sound. We could do what everybody else is doing, but they can't do what we do.
Crazy.
So that's important. That was important for us.
Yo, it's like when me and you building right now, I just feel like you me on that side of town and I'm you on this side of town.
No, absolutely.
Because our storyboards are so together.
The more we talk, everything seems like the same one.
And that's why I said at the end of the day, it's like, maybe this was dope for them to have us, you know, because we resemble so much, and then to know that the history is so deep on how we feel about the game and where we come from and our principles. That shit is, you know, that's blowing my head, man.
Now I'm gonna tell you when
my head off right now.
I'm gonna tell you what I saw from y'all that made me like, I was like, we gotta step this shit up. The hardest I had ever seen at that point, It's Yours video.
Oh, word?
I was like, cause that's when like, I had never seen a video and I'm looking at the show and I'm like, this is wild. But when you and Ghost in the Benz, I said, that's us.
Right.
I say, that's us. Right there.
Right.
The shirts, I say, see that? You can look at the Riding Dirty. I got damn near like the same kind of silk shirt. I say, man, them is us.
Straw hats and all of that and colors and
fly on
aqua colors.
The way Asian culture embraced y'all, because there was always this misconception that Asian culture didn't like black people. You know what I'm saying? And they could have very easily been like, y'all trying to culturally appropriate. But y'all were very faithful to representing that. Like beyond the music, like how did y'all look at the relationship y'all had with that culture?
Karate flicks. Karate flicks, Channel 5.
I grew up on Five Deadly Venoms, like that. That's the same Saturday morning, after the cartoons.
That was
come the karate movie.
Yeah, and you know, RZA being so much into it, you know, you gotta remember back in the days, you know, when those karate movies was on TV, you know, you had uncles that was either black belts You know, this is when used to come outside with open toe sandals on, and you know what I mean, ninja suits and all that, and they be in the parking lot with the Doberman pinches.
Now, that being the craziest I ever seen, was that like the moment when y'all knew like, yo, we got this game, like we got this shit on lock, or did you see something before that that was like, yo, we got this, they could never stop us at this point?
I think it was the record Cream when we dropped it really took us to the next level, because we was touring at the time when we did It's Yours, but Cream really, to me, kind of took us to the next level where now that gave us the ability to travel now. You know, we did Arsenio Hall, you know, which was a big show back then. And, you know, that's when, you know, your record company is like, yo, you know, they want to see you over here, and promoters. But Cream was the record I think that really the world was able to identify with, because at that time, a lot of wasn't really getting real money yet. You know, only a few cats was getting money.
Right.
You know, and
especially rappers.
I feel like at that time, that was the time where hustlers, smart hustlers, you know, respectful hustlers that got brains, was really starting to figure out the next level of success.
Right.
And I'm talking about all over the world.
Right.
So for me, I think that record really allowed us to tell a story for everybody. It's like, I'm telling your story without even realizing it. That record just really kind of like took us around the world.
I mean, that was the first record that dudes that I know weren't into hip hop was like, that's a hard ass song. Like, people would ask, who was them dudes? So that's when people where I was from started asking questions, because it started to sound real familiar. See, for us, we had the geographical distance, not being in your hood, not having seen it, not understanding it. Then the terminology, right? The standard New York street slang. Then y'all got 5%ers, got bodies. So you got to know a lot to really understand the depths of what y'all were really getting at.
The language barrier.
But Cream, everybody could understand that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And can it be so simple? I think that 1-2 punch really made, it transcended everything that might have been a barrier for people to understand who y'all were and what y'all was talking about. Seeing y'all in the projects are like, that's my corner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my struggle.
Right.
That's what we trying to do, get out of that type of shit.
Exactly.
A lot of people can relate to that. That's deeper than rap. That's deeper than a lot.
What record you feel, you know, kind of catapulted y'all to the next level?
It's no way around it, bro. It's Big Pimpin'. There's no way around it. Now, we made great records, and we had already made the seminal album, like the Riding Dirty, the album that everybody would eventually know us from.
Right.
But this was at the time where Hov was like the biggest thing at the time. This was right after Hard Knock Life and all of that. He had a lot of eyes on him. Everybody waiting to see what he was gonna do next. And I remember having, this one of the things, rest in peace to Clark. I remember Clark being like, you know, I remember Clark telling me like, yeah, I've been playing that Riding Dirty and let Hov hear it. And he was like, yo, I wanna make some music with these dudes.
That's deep, rest in peace, Clark.
We almost didn't do the record. It's a long story, but we almost didn't do the record. Pimp didn't want to do it because the sound was so different. Like the record Tim made with no record like that before, really ain't been no record like that since. And Pimp was worried about, like, there's gonna be a lot of people that ain't never heard us before that's gonna hear us on this record. And they might think this what we do. Cause it ain't what Hov do. Like, that wasn't no Hov record at the time.
Right.
So people might think that's our type of shit. So at first he didn't want to do it, and we eventually, I had to, you know, do reverse psychology or to get him to do it. And he finally did. He was like, but I ain't gonna do but 8 bars. I ain't gonna do but 8 bars. And it ended up being 8 of the biggest bars ever. And it opened up so many doors for us. Like, the first thing was, which I don't know, younger dudes might not know about this, but making the video. We was like one of the first rap videos on MTV's making the video.
Right.
And like, we shot the video we shot in Carnival in Trinidad, but Pimp didn't go because Pimp wasn't crazy about planes, so he ain't even fly. So we had to come back and reshoot in Miami.
Miami, yeah.
And we shot in Miami on like, I think a Tuesday. But we were there for a weekend because we shot Sipping on Scissor up in Big Pimpin the same weekend. So that was a crazy summer. Crazy summer for us. And that was the same, like, you know what, that was the same summer when, cause y'all did the first like BET Spring Bling.
Yeah,
was the first thing was Loud.
Yeah.
Because y'all was there. I think you met Pimp that weekend.
Yeah, I did.
Pimp had the Benz.
Yeah, he had the silver jump.
Yep, he had just got the Benz, and he was like, yo, I just met Raekwon.
Yeah, yo, I met him in the hotel. We was walking in, he just pulled up with a crispy joint. Crisp.
He bought it
you
for
know
the
what
video.
I mean? We just coming in the hotel. I looked, I said, yo, that's a mean piece right there, Playboy. He was like, good look, you chef, right? We was on the elevator rap, and that was my first time really, seeing him. Not really knowing fully who he is, but the way his style was, like you said, Kangos and you know what I mean? I'm like, my kind of right
absolutely,
here,
Absolutely. But that was the one though. Yeah. That was the one that changed everything for us because for me, it became an international calling card. The party turned up and this song is 24 years old now. And that shit turned up like it just came out. So that was a big blessing for us because now you gotta go do your research. Who is these dudes on this record? I never heard these dudes before. Now they gotta go back and listen to the old music and be like, oh, okay, so now I see what they brought to the record.
But y'all was responsible for the South in a big way, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I think in my eyes, because I felt like when y'all made that record, y'all already had heat out there already, but that record to me, I felt like now more artists were starting to emerge from the South.
Absolutely.
Just to even give you another thought or jewel on it, it's like, I don't know if you know, but I was like, I was living in Atlanta, right? And this was back in time, and I remember I bumped into Big Boy in the mall. So real tech real, he's
absolutely.
shopping, I'm shopping. It's always respectful men that when they see, like you said, you could feel the energy in it that make you be like, yo, I could say something to him and it'd be a cordial, respectful, gesture.
I know how to talk to a dude like that.
Yeah, exactly. And we just talked real quick, and next thing you know, we both, when we finished talking, we was like, yo, we gotta get it in, right? And when we made Skew It on the Barbie, that was the first record that anybody heard anything from the East Coast with. I just say that to say that those records right there, to me, made the South really just stand up and be like, yo, we here now.
But it was good.
Fully here now.
But it was good to see, it was good for us in the South. It was good for us to see that real dudes from where we were could meet and eventually connect and make music with real dudes from New York. Them like us, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story, man, and I don't really tell this story a lot. When I lost Pimp, a lot of people called and offered their condolences. One of the people that called me was RZA. To this day, I don't even know how he got my number. I never met him, I never communicated with him or nothing, but y'all had just lost Dirty.
Yeah.
And he called me.
Did they both perish around the same time?
Yes. Wow. Yeah. I think within a calendar year.
Wow.
Close to a calendar year, maybe a little over, but it was in a very, very close time because he reached out to me and he was like, hey, how you doing, my brother? He was like, this is RZA. And his voice is very distinct, right? So I'm like, man, how you doing? He's like, I'm good, my brother. I just wanted to call you, offer my condolences and just talk with you because, we recently went through something like that. And we just talked about grief and loss. My first conversation ever with this brother was about that.
Wow.
And it was such a blessing because y'all had figured out a way to honor his legacy and still continue and keep the group going. And it was words like that from him that really gave me like a strength in the moment to know like, okay, well, maybe not today, but eventually I'm gonna find a way to deal with this and move forward, but still honor him. How hard was that for y'all
It was the same thing, man. Yo, it broke us, man. It broke us because, like I said, and I'm never ashamed to say it, like we didn't pay attention to him enough. You know, sometimes you can't control a man's destiny on what he want to do, but when that happened, it really hurt us. You know, a lot of us is blaming each other. You know, but everybody has their own crowd of they want to hang with, and you know, it just was sad, man. It was f***ed up, and after that, we knew that the crew would never be the same. We lost a man, and we always looked at it because Dirty would predict a lot of these situations because we were turmoiling at that time. We was, you know, getting money, egos was flying, you know, a little bit of jealousy going on. You know, now men is men, alphas. They, you know, you think you that, what you talking about? Yo, get out of it, whatever, you know what I mean? So we were going through so much, and we knew that if we didn't have an understanding amongst each other, we were going to pay a penalty later on. But just to move on, like, to this day, still think about them. You know what I mean? It's never going to be perfect.
No.
You know, before it was perfect. And for me, you know, you got to remember, you know, Dirty, Jizza, and RZA was the ones that created this crew. You know, Dirty was rooting. He was always the rooting his roughest, but really seeing the future of what we're going to be. So how we celebrate his legacy today still is everywhere we go, we play his music. Everywhere. And then we even brought his son with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said.
I saw the tour, yeah.
Yeah,
I came to
you
the
know,
tour.
his son is, you know, that's my little, you know, my nephew right there. I love him. I still think about it.
I think about
it.
my boy every day.
Yeah, every day, man.
I tell you my favorite joints from you and the Clan. Obviously, Protect Your Neck was a game changer for me as a lyricist, because most posse cuts, even if you look at that as a posse cut, most posse cuts only went 4 or 5 dudes. All of y'all got busy, all of y'all had very different, distinct styles.
I felt like I had the weakest lines, though.
Really?
Wow, I felt like I had the weakest lines.
I feel like Ghost with the Mask just kind of bodied on that. On the aesthetic of him having the mask.
Oh yeah, you know, Ghost is a troublemaker. You know, he's a bully, and he was getting into a lot of. So, you know, the name fit him perfectly. Ghostface Killer. You know, yeah, man, that song. You know, that song it was the anthem. It was giving everybody a introduction to each individual. Yeah, that was the record that broke the mold. And like I said, Inspector Deck. I give him a lot of credit, even to this day. When I look at him, I'm like, you know, I always say, you was the one that set the flow. You set tempo. You know,
Always.
I smoke on the mic. You know, I smoke.
Joe Frazier.
Joe
the
Frazier. You know what I mean? Just those 2 lines is like, oh shit.
But even
what you
like,
gonna do after that?
Even like me, my second song is Triumph.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see who we got in the front, right?
And right in the front, setting the tone.
Front. Yeah.
But my third, and I brought this, so you already know.
Woo!
I've been having this for a while, and I ain't never pulled it out. I ain't rocked it. I always rocked it to my man Curtin's throwback birthday party.
Snow Beach.
You created the single most wanted Polo piece ever.
It's crazy.
With this. I didn't even know why I wanted this. I was a student of hip hop, but really a student of people. In order to understand New York rhymes, you had to understand New York lifestyle. When I saw it, I was like, yo, I want that. That look clean. And then I realized you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And then for years you couldn't find it.
Wow.
And I finally found
Snow
that
Beach
bitch. It took me a couple of years to get that bitch, but.
Yo, that was to me was considered a wardrobe, the wardrobe for that video shoot that we did, Can It Be Also Simple. That's how much, you know, wardrobe wasn't a big budget back then.
Right.
So we didn't have a budget. You know what I mean? I had a couple of dollars. I think went downtown Brooklyn or something. I already got the Air Forces or whatever. You know, I don't even probably think my Air Forces is brand new, but they was up to shape.
Right.
They was
not too many creases.
So I'm thinking, yeah, so you know me, I might have 2 creases in it. But I'm thinking the top is important. So, you know, I had a Green Bay hat on. So I'm like, damn, how am I really, you know, my favorite color is green, but I want something colorful. And that was the only thing that I seen in there in that Polo section. And when I seen it, it was like I had to look around because it was like, no way that it's sitting in there. You know what I mean? No way it's by itself right now. Went over there, it was an extra large. I was like, yo, somebody wanted me to have it, you know, but I didn't know it was gonna make that much of a big thing, man. You know, I was just trying to just show that, you know, we love clothes, you know, without trying to be fashionable with it. I just wanted to be colorful, you know, and if you notice, Ghost, he had colors on. Like, we always looked at, if you colorful, that means you got money. Because we've been so much used to wearing black all the time.
Right,
and,
right.
You know what I mean? Just
that's a
looking
good
like,
point.
you know, camouflage and, you know, that was the neighborhood.
Them
you know
colors
what I
and the
mean?
materials.
Yeah.
Pimp was real big on like silk.
Yeah,
like, I like silk.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Silk ain't cheap.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And that was the whole thing. It was just that fabrics was important to us, and definitely loving clothes at that time. You know, if I could have, you know, had a silk shirt or whatever, which we wound up silking it up in heaven and hell. We wound up, you know, me and go silked it out.
Absolutely.
But for that particular video, Can It Be Also Simple, like I said, that was my wardrobe, you know, and I wore it, and next thing you know, people started, you know, reaching out, like, yo, where you get that from? Where you get that from? You know, and I think back then probably Polo only made a couple of them.
Yeah, this was never like a big one anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't like they had them out there like you gonna just see them in every Polo, you know, store or whatever. But yeah, I ain't even go to the Polo store for that. I bought that in like I said, like a regular mall.
This is the most historic Polo piece that I know of.
Crazy, crazy.
I know you can relate to this. As you move on in life, like we've been able to have success with the groups, but then we have our own individual success. And now, like, we're businessmen, and there was so many things that we wanted to do, different directions. We wanted to go in and different things, and he was always adamant about, man, make sure you're doing other, because you know a lot of so don't just be doing music, make sure you're doing other. Now we businessmen, you know what I'm saying? I got
that's
the burgers.
my next question.
I got the burgers right now, which is crazy, which we gotta get you a burger. But this was something that allowed me to take everything I learned about business and marketing and people, you know? And for years I thought I was an entertainer. I tell people I thought I was an entertainer, but really I was in the service industry. Like, the product was the music.
That's right.
And I was just serving it up to people on a, you know, weekly basis, daily basis, album basis, or whatever. And I realized that when this burger concept came to me, I was like, well, I don't know nothing about the food industry. I know how to sell an album, so I just started thinking about the burger like an album. But for me, I just want to bring the burgers out there because I'm leading by example. I know that for my generation, we pretty much put everything else we was doing to the side to do this rap. And now it's like, you know, well, I got this rap, this shit running automatic. I can see this hustle, I see it a mile away. You know what I'm saying? Is that how you was with the tree? Because I ain't even really know you even smoke. You even smoke like that?
Yeah,
I ain't even really know if you smoke like
that. Ganja hawk, man.
Because it wasn't never nothing that you know, when I think of Wu-Tang and I think of weed, it's meth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's meth, but I didn't even know you was smoking like that.
That's what made those rhymes, you know? I got with the right team, and we came up with this brand called Hash Storia. Today, you know, we just getting ready to have our grand opening, you know, to our flagship store in Newark, in Brick City. You know, shout out to Brick City. You know, people always look at weed as being something bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not the case, you know? Weed helped so many of us, you know, being able to incline our minds, you know, deal with pain, emotions, you know, anxieties.
Facts.
You know, and this is something that I would, you know, after a show would really sit down and think about and say, yo, you know, this is something that is going to be a dream of ours. And, you know, it's so crazy that, you know, on the song Can It Be Also Simple, Ghost said it in a rhyme. I want to have me a fat yacht and enough land to go and plant my own cess crops. But for now, it's just a big dream. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were already in Sonny Carson mode. We was already in Sonny Carson mode. Like, remember when they was on the roof and they was crying and talking about, what they want to be? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be the greatest dancer. JoJo dancer. You know, so we were so, you know, magnetized to still dreaming that it really just pulled me in to be like, yo, if the opportunity presents itself, I want to do it. Today, you couldn't tell me that, you know, I would be sitting here with you, you know, saying that, yo, we sell legal marijuana and, you know, we have a consumption lounge that we're building still.
Which is crazy. That's a
know,
game changer.
yeah,
To be able to buy the trees and then smoke the trees where you buy the
and
trees.
then chill and just relax and teach
Catch a
people
vibe.
about it.